Hey guys, so today we are going over all my video game pickups throughout the month of January 2022. So let's go and get started. So this month, when it comes to video games themselves, it's been kind of like a dry spell this month, as typically it is for January, because after dealing with holiday season, most of us are just broke after getting everything throughout the last few months, as you guys probably guessed from my last two pickups videos through December, November last year. Yeah, definitely got quite a lot of stuff here, but nonetheless, do believe I got really good stuff though this month, though that may seem very few items here, but still what I got here I think is really cool. So to start out, these are pretty much the only games themselves that I got throughout this month here, but they're all pretty interesting, at least three of them here. So the first one here, it's In a Rays of the Light. This I got from Red Art Games website. This was a limited release on there. I can't remember how many copies of this was printed, but if I recall correctly, it might be around 1,000 copies of this was ever printed. I could be wrong on that though, but I do know the reason that I picked it up is as soon as I saw this uploaded on some news websites that I keep track of limited releases for games, when this popped up and I saw how many was being printed, yeah, I did not hesitate to make sure that when this went up for sale for pre-order, I made sure that I jumped on this here. It looks to be a walking simulator. It looks like a really beautiful one, matter of fact, but I couldn't tell you much on the game, though, in all honesty, that I just picked it up because it's a limited release game for the PS5. Now, this game you did see last month in my pickups video throughout December. I don't know why, but for some reason I was delivered a free copy of this game, and yet when I check my bank statements, I was not charged for this. But they still sent it me, and in my emails they even gave me tracking info, the same exact order number of my original copy of this. So for some reason they sent me another copy of this, even though I only ordered one. It's Disco Elysium: The Final Cut on the PS5. Yeah, for some reason, I Am 8-Bit, who is the website you can get this game from. Yeah, for some reason they sent me a free copy of this game. I don't know why, but in that case, that will make it that I will end up soon having 3 copies of this game for the PS5, because the two is the one you see right here, as well as the one I got last month, my original copy of this. And the third one is going to be the collector's edition of this game that I also ordered from I Am 8-Bit's website. That was more than a year ago at this point. Hopefully that'll come in within the next few months, because they've been dealing with, tons of shipping issues and getting materials in to make up the stuff within the collector's edition. But hey, I guess I'll take another free copy of this game. I don't plan on opening either copies, regular copies of this here, because for one, it's kind of a limited release for it still, so I'd rather keep it sealed, honestly. And also, given the type of game that Disco Elysium is, it is a overhead view point-and-click adventure game, and for that, I'd rather play it on my PC, in all honesty, which I already have the game on my PC. I played it a little bit 2 months ago, I think. It was a really cool game, though, that I do look forward to hopefully one day finishing it, though, because of the amount of awards and critical acclaim this game has gotten, though. I really look forward to finishing it up one day. Alright, so the last 2 games here, these are both boxed Game Boy Advance games. For some reason, I have slight urge to collect some Game Boy Advance games, but ones that are affordable, though. All of Nintendo games, complete in box. Ones for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games. Yeah, those are quite pricey, of course, but these ones, really wanted to get these, though. One, they were really cheap, and the last one here, oh, I've absolutely loved this game. But this first one here, it's Namco Museum. It was I think a $10, $15 game that I got on eBay. It is complete and with everything, so I was really happy to get it. Plus, I'm just a big fan of Namco's games and all that. Plenty of memories of playing all of Pac-Man, Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, what have you. So, yeah, I just felt like getting a box copy of it on the Game Boy Advance. Now this last game, now at first glance you may think, you really picked this up here, is that game must suck. That's the case. This game does not suck. This game is really, really good. It's Monster House. Now, believe me when I say this is a really, really good Zelda clone. It's very similar to like OG Legend of Zelda and like Link to the Past, where it's like an overhead view. And but in this game, you're inside the house, and it's all layered out as like a dungeon in like the Legend of Zelda games, right? It has like multiple different floors throughout the house that you had, like, you play as like the three main characters, like same from the movie, what have you. They have their own unique abilities. Every layout is different, has its own somewhat new art style. It has Metroidvania elements to it as well, that you unlock some new equipment that you can get to like other areas that you couldn't before. So yes, such an underrated gem on the Game Boy Advance that if you guys love old school Legend of Zelda games, you absolutely must pick this up. That, no joke, I rank this game like one of the best movie licensed games of all time. Like, I would put this close to like GoldenEye 007 on the N64. Even though personally I think that game has aged terribly these days. But yeah, point being though, highly recommend you guys pick that game up. Even like a loose card of it is just ridiculously cheap. I think I got that for maybe like $15, $20, and it is complete too. So yeah, I'm really happy to have that game. So I played that a lot back in the day, that I'm happy to have a copy of it again, and a complete one as well, which is so good. Alright, so the rest of this stuff is all just like accessories and game console stuff, as well as you can see here. So to start out with ones that I got online, because they were like pretty cheap, and it was just like the consoles themselves, which is like the only reason I wanted to get them. So this first one, it's a Nintendo 64. This is my first N64 I have ever gotten. I never grew up with the system back in the day. I did, my cousin's grandmother did have one of these, but the only game that they had for it was a Bust a Move game. Don't remember what the name of it was, but it was a Bust a Move game is what I recall. Personally, it's not at all in my favorite consoles ever. Yeah, like, so the first party games for it is still pretty good overall too, but if you want to tell me like what my favorite Nintendo systems are, this will never be on that list ever. It may be close to like one of my least favorite Nintendo systems ever, but don't let that change the fact though that still like some games on this system still are very, very good. Like, I have to get into the games like Ocarina of Time and Mario 64, what have you. But yeah, I've never been a big fan of this console, though, truth be told, but I still wanted to get it, though, because, like, for, like, projects that I have going for right now that I want to try to get, like, every console that ever made from, like, you know, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, what have you, so I can have, like, a nice setup going as well, too. Plus, I do plan on doing an RGB mod for this system as well in the future on Gaming Resurrections, so do stay tuned for that, though, whenever I do get the one parts, so I can start modifying the system so you can get like much, much better picture quality out of this. Alright, the next one, definitely one of two favorite systems of all time, a PlayStation 1. This model, it's the SCPH 5501. It had to be this model that I had to get because of a mod that I plan on doing for this, which is that I'll be putting an X station in this. So that way, I will just, let's see, that you'll just like replace the disk drive in there, and you'll be able to, sorry, I didn't realize the game was in there, that you'll be able to load like an SD card in there and just play games off of a card there. Plus, from like the seller that I got this from, they said like the disk drive was like finicky at times, though. And like that's fine. Like even if this disk drive like wasn't working at all, I still would have taken it though, because the disk drive is coming out of this, that it's going to be replaced with an X station. I'm really happy to have like of PS1 back though, like this, because this was a childhood system of mine, as well as combined to one that you'll see here in a second. That the system's library is so massive that there's so much like hidden gems on there, plus many of well-known titles that I still have yet to play. So after I get an X Station installed in this, that I can just like experience the whole library of like the games that I really, really want to play on this. Really look forward to doing that. Right, and then a trip that I made last weekend was up to Out of This World arcade and game up in Petoskey, Michigan. I have mentioned them in like previous pickups of videos beforehand that you guys may recognize them, but originally I wanted to go over there to pick up, of all things you may be surprised, the official GameCube component cables, because I saw that he had them there like months ago, and I'll get to my reasons why though in like a later video of why that I was going to get those. But unfortunately some guy from a different town like came in to pick those up because realized that they were selling them for a lower price apparently, and that he would be able to like get $100 profit out of them. So whatever, good luck, dude. Have fun scalping those, because seeing how the prices for them going right now, like they come down in value somewhat, but yeah, whatever though. So instead of that, I what came out of Arcade and Game with some better stuff in my opinion. And the first thing is a boxed Super Nintendo. Oh yeah, it is a complete in box system right here. Super Nintendo, my favorite Nintendo console of all time. The one right behind it is the GameCube. Cannot tell you the amount of childhood memories I've had with this console. That this system, thankfully, it's almost in like perfect condition. That's like no signs of yellowing on the system at all. Even if it did, like there is ways you can fix yellowing, that maybe in the future if I get like a system that's like badly yellowed up, or even some like accessories, I'll do a video on like how to de-yellow that stuff though. It's like really easy to do. If you have the right equipment, you know what you're doing with it, like it's easy to do. But back on topic though, Super Nintendo, really happy to have this back in my collection though. I do plan on getting like an EverDrive for the system so I can like play like most of the console's library all on one cartridge, because still Super Nintendo games are like extremely expensive. I mean, they have been for like a decade from what it feels like, but yeah, really awesome to have a complete in-box unit here. It has like the original styrofoam, all of its original cables, everything, as well as a copy of Super Mario World as well. So yeah, quite happy to have this here. And the other thing that I got from them, well, first off, is this. It's not really a game, it's just like an accessory for the Dreamcast here, but it's the Sega Dreamcast web browser. This is sealed too, as you can see. If I recall, if you did buy a Dreamcast back then, brand new at the time, I do believe this was bundled in with the system, along with like a demo disc for some bundles with the system. I don't know if that was on launch for the Dreamcast. I do know they did come with demo discs like for like later units of the system throughout its very short lifespan, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure this was bundled in with the console like from day one when the Dreamcast came out though. I only picked this up because it was a whopping $8 and it's sealed too. I thought that's pretty awesome. And the last thing that I got from Arcade and Game is a Sega Genesis Model 2, as well as a Model 2 Sega Saturn as well. This is my first Genesis I have ever gotten, and plus as well as like first Sega CD I've ever gotten as well. The Genesis library definitely has a lot of like diamonds in the rough, like plenty of games that do deserve a lot more attention. If you do give me like a choice, like I am so picking a Super Nintendo over a Genesis, because well, for one, I haven't played like almost any of the Genesis's library, though I really look forward to doing so when I do get an EverDrive for this system as well. But what I'm most interested though is the Sega CD over the Genesis library. Main thing is Snatcher exists on this system, which I would love to have a copy of that though, but that's not going to happen for a long time given the price of that game. But The Sega CD does read burned games, though, as well as I think with later revisions of EverDrives for the Genesis, you can play Sega CD games off of an EverDrive. I would have to look further into that to see if that is true, but I know there is alternatives besides doing burned games for the Sega CD here. One thing to note, though, this Sega CD is having some hardware issues, which Arcade Game, like, they did tell me about that, and I told them, like, that's fine. I can fix this if I do plan on using this unit right here, but if I can't end up fixing it, I still would have wanted this regardless, though, because this makes, like, a pretty nice display piece, honestly. And yeah, I so look forward to like getting into the systems library, because there's so many hidden gems on Sega consoles that like they did make like good hardware, very innovative for their times, especially with the Dreamcast in my opinion. But God, they did not know how to market their games at all. That all they did was just like talk endless crap on Nintendo, which was really funny for those ads. But God, they did not know how to sell you any games, though, besides Sonic. And that is it, though. Nonetheless, very happy to have this, of course, that I look forward to jumping in this systems library here. Well, one thing that I got from, now the rest of this stuff here I got from Castlemania Games, which have been having some questionable stuff going on with them, but you guys will see in a later video, though, and I'll explain that whole story, though. But the stuff that I have gotten from them, though, first is this Retro Fighters N64 controller. This controller, like if you want to get into the N64 and in a more modern way, I can't recommend you pick up this controller. It's just a more modern controller, so that way you can avoid having to use one of the, in my opinion, one of the worst controllers of all time. Nothing will compare to the Atari 5200 controller, yeah, I understand that, but God, the N64 controllers, like, for one, I never had an N64 back then, but even back in that time, though, I don't get, like, what were they thinking with that controller? With the design of it is just horrendous, if you ask me. If you have to, like, swap between those three grips, like, seriously, you guys need to go back to the drawing board on that. And even with people's excuses saying that, oh, it was designed around Mario 64 at the time. It's still badly designed. I don't get how that's like a good excuse for that, though. It's still not a well-designed controller, though. I don't care if it was the first one with an analog stick. But nonetheless, though, if you want like a more updated controller that's more modern from the N64, highly recommend the Retro Fighters controller. It has like a very nice feel to it. The analog stick feels very good. Buttons feel very clicky, have good feedback to them and all that. So yeah, highly recommend you guys pick up this controller. It's pretty good in my opinion. Right, and the last few things here, these are component cables. A lot of component cables here. And these specifically are quite special. And these are HD Retrovision cables. So here we have ones for the Wii and the Wii U, another set for the Super Nintendo, and another one for the Sega Genesis, Model 2 Sega Genesis specifically for this cable here. And finally, one for the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3. If you are going to be hooking up retro systems to like CRTs or even to an upscaler, I cannot recommend you get these cables here, because these will give you the best possible picture quality out of your retro systems. Not like saying that as like any bias or remorse here, but it's true. Like these legit is like the best type of like component cables that you can get for your systems to get perfectly clear and good looking picture quality out of your retro systems. I also did get adapters from them as well, and these are meant for the Genesis cables right here. That this one here is meant for a Genesis Model 1. This one is meant for a Neo Geo. I do plan on getting a Sega Saturn one here pretty soon. And finally, to me, the most important one is a PlayStation 1 adapter. Yes, the PlayStation 2, PS3, they have the same type of connector here, though. but something with, I think it has something to do that the PlayStation 1, it doesn't support RGB, but the way that you can now is, I think with like the extra chips that they put within like the connector, or this little like the chip that's inside this thing here, as you can see, for like the Genesis cables, that then you would need this adapter that plugs into a PS1 there, so that way that allows you to get RGB out of the system, or at least perfectly good picture quality for the system if you want to use these cables with it. I also did get a 2 pairs of male-to-male ends as well for these cables, because I do plan on getting a G-Comp switch from Castlemania Games, so that way I will have all these cables and plus these consoles hooked up with HD Retrovision cables into a automatic component switch box, which is called the G-Comp switch, as I said, and I will have like one end will go into my Trinitron CRT, and the other one is going to be going into my upscaler, which I did order a RetroTink 5X that'll be coming in next month, that I'll show you guys later on. That will be going into like my 4K TV, so that way I have the options to like play all my retro systems on like a CRT or on a more modern big screen 4K TV and all that. So I have the best of both worlds in my eyes. So that's not all though that I got. Last week I did end up getting another CRT. This one that I got, it's a Toshiba modeled 20AF44, if I recall. It's very similar to my Trinitron, that it has like component video in it, so like thank God, so I can get the best possible picture quality out of that. But one thing another reason I got this is I know like this model, it has like more thicker scan lines compared to my Trinitron though. Regardless, I wanted to get my Trinitron as like my first CRT ever, because the Trinitrons, they have just very, very sharp pictures compared to like any other branded CRT out there. But this Toshiba though, I can tell you, like the scan lines I noticed, they're like definitely like more thicker compared to my Trinitron though. So really happy to have this TV here for my whole setup, that I will show you how it's like all layered out in my next vlog video that'll be coming up pretty soon here, and I will even have like updated systems to show you off in there as well too. But yeah, that will do it for this month's pickups, guys. Sorry there wasn't much games in here, but like I said, it's mainly I've been like investing into like future projects that for some stuff is still not coming in until April, unfortunately. But I can guarantee you though, when April comes around though, not only will you see all like this new equipment I'm getting in, but I will be taking a trip down to Bristol, Tennessee, and there I'll be visiting a bunch of game stores down there, and I will be making videos of all my pickups that I'll be getting there as well. So yeah, do look forward to like April for pickups though, for sure. The next few months may be similar to this here, that seems kind of lackluster for games, but then again, I'm trying to like making some better investments for some equipment, because still prices for video games, they're still just like, for like retro stuff, I mean for like noticeably good titles, they're just still so expensive that if I really like want to play these games though on like original hardware, like I'm going to be doing stuff, you know, with like putting an X station in there so I can play games off an SD card there. I still will be, you know, collecting games and what have you, but just currently with the price for like most of them, we'll just wait for all that stuff to come down though, since we're still in like a bubble for like, you know, retro game pricing and all that. But right, enough of that though. I do appreciate if you guys do rate this video, share it with your friends, do subscribe for more content like this in the future. Until then guys, I'll see you next time.